Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Wednesday, the 8th of July, or the 8th day of July, or July the 8th, whatever I was trying to say. It's National Freezer Pop Day.
Oh,
I love those things.
I remember those.
Oh, they're so good. And it's also National Chocolate with Almonds Day. I love that, too.
Me too.
Today would be a good day to celebrate, but it probably wouldn't be so great for my diet.
No, it wouldn't be good.
But anything in moderation, right?
No, not when we're on the diet.
Moderation. Also, I've got a guest coming up later in the program today. We have America's Money Answers man, Jordan Goodman.
Jordan Goodman.
Now, this might be the first Wednesday we've ever had him on the program. Usually we talk to him on Fridays. But we were going to talk last Friday, and then it was a federal holiday because of 4th of July that landed on a Saturday, but Friday the 3rd. So anyway, we rescheduled it for this week, and we're going to chat today. So I'll be chatting with Jordan Goodman, America's Money Answers man, coming up in a bit. Many people have dabbled in the stock market for their very first time ever this year. If you're new to the market, but you don't want to learn things the hard way and the expensive way, I encourage you to subscribe to this free newsletter. You can get the inside track with Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com. Subscribe for free. If you change your mind, just unsubscribe. Sign up for free right now at marketbeatminute.com. That's marketbeatminute.com. Now, surveys and studies and such brought to you by BetterCreditCards.com. A study by Lafayette University found that people who constantly nitpick their partners can send them to an early grave.
Oh.
Yeah.
You should pay attention to that.
I'm looking right at you, Heidi. And you've got your phone chiming over
I
there.
do have my phone on.
You should turn the ringer off.
See what I mean? You see, I'm going to end up in an early grave.
Is that me nitpicking you? You know what I'm going to do while we're talking here? I'm going to
mute yours?
I'm going to turn my ringer off, just a preemptive strike, because that's exactly what will happen. Anyway, if you'd like to read that study, I've got a link to it. It's in the show notes for today at johnandheidishow.com.
Some credit cards have really high rates or big annual fees. Usually, people sign up for these when it's all they qualify for. If that sounds like you, it may be time to get a better credit card. Over time, your situation changes, and you may qualify for a better credit card. Your current card hopes you don't think about it, but our site shows you many options to see if there's a better credit card for you. Check it out for free at bettercreditcards.com. That's bettercreditcards.com.
This is your Brain on Drugs, brought to you by TimeForRehab.com. An Eagle River, Alaska man stole a fire truck from the King Salmon Fire Station Saturday, drove 15 miles with lights of flashing, drove it to a bar where he was arrested. Bristol Bay.
Drove it to a bar.
Bristol Bay police say in an online statement, 22-year-old Dawson Cody Porter used a piece of lumber to break a window of the fire station and made his way inside the building at about 9 p.m. Once inside, he started a fire truck and drove it through the station's closed bay doors. That's not good. It says the chief said nobody was injured. Nobody was in the building, rather, when he broke in. He's being held at the Bristol Bay Detention Center on charges of burglary, theft of a vehicle, criminal mischief, and violating conditions of release on a previous arrest. So he was already on parole.
Nice.
And he had to go to a bar in a big old hurry, stole a fire truck, and now he's back in jail. Not a good plan. That's what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com. Unsolved Mysteries.
I loved that show.
I did too. Originally hosted by Robert Stack, aired in the 1980s and the 1990s, and I can still tell you the phone number. Do you remember it?
I don't, but I know you do.
If you have clues that will lead to the arrest in this case or solve this case, you can call 1-800-876-5353. Remember that?
Nice.
That was the number, I guarantee you. There was a reboot. We actually started watching this. It's on Netflix. It's just not the same.
I don't like the new format.
There are 6 episodes out now with 6 more coming soon. I'm just going to say, Netflix, you got to find a host And it's going to be tough because...
And it's just not as good.
They didn't have the reenactments either. It was the other thing I
Right,
noticed.
they didn't have the reenactments. And there was always like 3 or 4 stories.
Yeah, now it's one
before.
long story.
Right, it's just not as good. Now it's
still
basically
good.
forensic files.
Kind of, but it's, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just not as good.
I miss it, and I think with enough people voicing their concern, voice your concern, let them know that they need a host. I am available, so I would love to. I'm just kidding. I don't want to be the host.
You don't want to be compared to Robert Stack.
Because everybody's going to say he's no Robert Stack.
No.
So I can't stack up to that. Thanks for listening to Big Screen, Little Screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com.
We're here to make it better.
If you find that drug or alcohol problems are hitting you too close to home, you can get help. Maybe it's time for rehab. Your insurance may even cover everything. Learn more at timeforrehab.com. Get help for a drug or alcohol problem within 24 hours.
We're here to make it better.
Get more information at timeforrehab.com. That's timeforrehab.com.
Now your scoop of the day, it comes your way, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Americans eat a lot of hot dogs in the month of July. How many do you suppose, Heidi?
3.
Wrong. 1 billion. 1 billion hot dogs. That's not each of us. That's altogether. Altogether, Americans eat 1 billion hot dogs in July. Downloads of Couch to 5K fitness apps have soared as people are attempting to shed some weight gained in lockdown. Most of the apps are designed for beginners and encourages them to incrementally increase the amount that they run each week. From March through the end of June, Couch to 5K apps downloaded nearly doubled. So twice as many as they normally would have downloaded. In Spain, 2 men were arrested for burglary by officers responding to an emergency call. Their getaway didn't go well. When they leaped off a low balcony, a 17-year-old landed on top of the 22-year-old. They broke an ankle and
Yikes.
left his colleague with a fractured skull and broken ribs and a broken collarbone and a collapsed lung. So you could say that getaway wasn't a very good getaway. They were foiled again. By who? By themselves. They both jumped in the same spot. One landed on the other, and, well, luckily the police were there to help. Temperature checks for airline passengers could become a federal order. So they're saying you might have to get your temperature checked before you get on an airplane. It might become a federal order. An ice cream shop in Berea, Ohio, is asking customers to please be nice to our employees. Several guests now have yelled at these teenage employees, and it just doesn't seem like nice. Here's what it is. Moo Town Creamery said guests have cussed and been very mean and rude to the teenage employees and made a few of them cry. The shop said in a Facebook post, "Our lives are flipped upside down. Businesses are closing. Some of us are still out of work. We are stressed out. We are worried. We are frustrated. However, that's no excuse to take out your frustrations on teenage kids serving ice cream."
It's not.
So, yeah, just kids working in an ice cream store, and apparently some people are getting really huffy about some stuff. And yeah, that's not a good way to handle stuff. Over here, Finger on the App. I had asked a colleague here about this. He'd never heard of it. Have you ever heard of it, Heidi?
I have not.
Finger on the App is a new app. It's kind of like when, remember the back in the day, you put your hand on a truck or whatever, and last one to take their hand off the truck wins.
Yeah, okay.
That concept. It's an app where players keep their finger on a smartphone screen, and every once in a while have to move to a different spot when the thing tells them to. That is to prevent cheating.
Yep.
The last person to keep their finger on that app wins a prize of up to $25,000. Over 2 days, 15 players are still vying for the prize. The game started with 1.3 million players. That just seems like a giant waste of time to me. But you know what? I guarantee you there's some people who will play it. How do I know? Well, I just read 1.3 million people started the game.
So is it,
I don't know,
24 hours a day, like
Apparently.
overnight and everything?
I would assume so. I've got a link to the thing. It's called fingerontheapp. But I have a link to it. It's in the show notes for today at JohnandHeidiShow.com.
Do you pay too much for insurance? Have you looked around? Or are you too chicken? Don't be afraid to look around to see if you can find a better deal at InsuranceChicken.com. We make it super simple for you to see rates from several different companies, to see what they have to offer, all in one place. Peck out great insurance deals at InsuranceChicken.com. Is it time for you to cross the road? See if we can save you money each month at InsuranceChicken.com. That's InsuranceChicken.com.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Super excited to visit with our guest today. We talk to him about once a month, and we always look forward to this. We have Jordan Goodman, America's Money Answers man, joining us right now. How are you, sir?
Great to be with you, John.
It's always a pleasure to visit. We have people who wonder about different things that are financial, and I always save these questions for you because you have the answers. I don't, but do have some questions. So one of the things we're going to talk about is the stock market. Right now, we see COVID cases that are rising, and you would think that would mean the stock market is falling, but it's kind of the opposite, isn't it? Why is that?
It is. The stock market's been on a roll. NASDAQ's been hitting one record high after another. All the major tech stocks, Microsoft, Apple, Tesla, Google, Facebook, all of them are just soaring to all-time record highs, while the coronavirus continues to get faster and faster in its spread, particularly in the South and the West. I think there's several reasons. First of all, the Federal Reserve continues to pour a huge amount of money into the economy, and that's fueling the markets to some extent. They're going to continue to do that. There's also hope that Congress will renew the CARES Act and have an additional rescue package, and that money would help with the stock market. And then there's hope that there's going to be a vaccine virus, a vaccine for the virus. We're not sure exactly when, but maybe early 2021, so the thing can be behind us. I mean, every time there's some kind of a scientific advance or breakthrough, the stock market goes up again. So it seems kind of weird, John, I must say, but to have the stock market and coronavirus cases going up at the same time makes some sense. Now,
something else that's been kind of a big question is, with the interest rates going down, would this be a good time for people who maybe want to buy a home or refinance a home? Or do you see those continuing to go down, or do you think we're kind of maybe in a place where this would be a good time to take care of that right now?
This would be a good time right now. 30-year fixed-rate mortgages are now at or below 3%. Just unbelievable. My son out in San Francisco is buying a house, and he's getting a 2.8% 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. I mean, just unbelievably low rates here. So you never know how long these things are going to last, either to buy a home or refinance your existing home. I never thought I'd say this, John, but if your current mortgage is 3.5% or higher, it makes sense to look into refinancing your mortgage. It's just unbelievable. A place to refinance would be You Can Refi, YOUCANREFI.com. They look around the country to get you the best possible rate. And if you're buying a home, you can use what's called the ARC loan, the automatic rate cut mortgage. When rates go down, it automatically goes down. If rates ever go up, it never goes up. The website for that, arcloan.com, ARCLON.com. I mean, this is the absolute best of times as far as mortgage rates. We've never seen anything as low as this.
That is fantastic. And our guest right now is Jordan Goodman, America's Money Answers man, and his website is moneyanswers.com. So if you miss any of the sites that we talk about, when you go there, he's got a lot of great resources. And then another question, with the government's involvement in doing the bailouts and the CARES Act, do you have any insight on that? I know that's kind of a topic of discussion for a lot of people right now on whether anything else is going to happen or if we're done there. Do you have any insights for us on that, Jordan?
Very controversial. They had the CARES Act in the end of March, which was roughly $3 trillion, and that's pretty much running out. The money for that is running out the end of July. So whether Congress can get their act together and do another one or not is unclear. The House has already passed a $3 trillion additional rescue package, about $1 trillion of which would go to states and municipalities who are running big deficits and really need it, but they have to expand the PPP program, the Paycheck Protection Program, which is helping small businesses keep their workers. Unemployment benefits, an additional $600 a week, that runs out. So if we don't get something, John, the economy could fall off a cliff in August, basically, because that's what's been kind of sustaining things while so many businesses are closed down. The Senate has a very different view of this. They do not want to do money for the states and municipalities. They're talking about tax cuts of various types. They're running out of time here, so hopefully they will get some kind of action and get another rescue package because we really need it by the end of July.
If people have questions and they would like to reach out directly to you, how do they do that, Jordan?
MoneyAnswers.com is my website. I do a weekly, what's called the Week in Review on every Friday. I do what's called the Money Answers Minute on different financial topics. I do my Money Answer show, or I interview people in personal finance. I've got over 150 resources now to help people. We talked about mortgages today, but there's 20 different categories that I can help people do better with their money. So, and I'm always glad to get emails for your listeners at moneyanswers.com, John.
And he's literally written the book on this topic, several of them, and you can find those on his website as well. Once again, Jordan Goodman with moneyanswers.com. Thank you for listening to The John and Heidi Show. Many people have dabbled in the stock market for their very first time ever this year. If you're new to the market, but you don't want to learn things the hard way and the expensive way, I encourage you to subscribe to this free newsletter. You can get the inside track with Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com. Subscribe for free. If you change your mind, just unsubscribe. Sign up for free right now at marketbeatminute.com. That's marketbeatminute.com. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The term UFO. Have you ever heard of that?
Yes.
Do you know what it stands for?
Unidentified flying object.
Yes. You know who came up with that name?
No.
Edward Ruppelt. This happened in 1952. He was a U.S. Air Force officer, and he said he didn't identify it. So it's like there's an unidentified flying object. So he was the first one to call it that. And then ever since then, that's just what they've been called, UFOs.
Huh.
So that was in 1952. So before that, a lot of time they would call them flying saucers, and there were other words, other things. So it's not like that was the first sighting of a UFO, just the first time that we called it that. So there you go. Now you know. This is today's fun fact.
Some credit cards have really high rates or big annual fees. Usually, people sign up for these when it's all they qualify for. If that sounds like you, it may be time to get a better credit card. Over time, your situation changes, and you may qualify for a better credit card. Your current card hopes you don't think about it, but our site shows you many options to see if there's a better credit card for you. Check it out for free at bettercreditcards.com. That's bettercreditcards.com.
Now, a news headline from somewhere in this world, Dateline Brazil. It's got a message from somebody from Brazil.
Have you ever been to Brazil?
No,
you
we've
should
never been to
come
Brazil.
see us in Brazil.
How you doing in Brazil? Good to talk to you. But no, we have not been there. But I do have a story from Brazil. Dateline Brazil. Brazil's Senate has passed a bill that will make it illegal to broadcast fake information.
Okay.
That's probably not a bad thing.
It's not.
If you knowingly share false information, I think that's wrong. I think it's really sad when somebody will share something that they didn't really check into, and then later they find out that that wasn't accurate. It's a whole different thing. It's a little careless to share things that you didn't check on, but I also understand it's not like you're going to, if you feel that it's coming from a trusted source and you share it, it's a whole different thing than if you just make up a story. Mm-hmm. That's why I have a good sense of humor, but I'm not a fan of satire for that very reason, because many people think it's real and they share it and then they look silly later. So I don't know, just not a good thing. But this is a news headline from somewhere in this world.
We're here to make it better.
If you find that drug or alcohol problems are hitting you too close to home, you can get help. Maybe it's time for rehab. Your insurance may even cover everything. Learn more at timeforrehab.com. Get help for a drug or alcohol problem within 24 hours.
We're here to make it better.
Get more information at timeforrehab.com. That's timeforrehab.com.
Time now for some weird news, brought to you by WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. The city of Philadelphia is asking people to refrain from swimming in dumpsters.
What?
Yeah, a block party rented trash bins and turned them into makeshift swimming pools over the weekend.
Oh, so they were clean.
Yeah, Billy Penn first reported that a group of people rented a dumpster, filled it with water from a fire hydrant, and created their own pool. Justin Myers, who's part of the group that organized the block party every year, says they decided to turn the dumpster into a pool while brainstorming party ideas. Myers said he powered washed the trash bin, and they put plywood and pool noodles in the bottom of the bin and covered it with tarps. Unfortunately, the city was not amused. They said they will not issue permits for block party dumpster pools. Communication director for the Department of Licenses and Inspections said in a statement that they apologized to the city. So the folks that did it said, hey, we didn't know we were going to get in trouble.
What difference does it make?
I don't know. They just said they think it's a bad idea. So that's why it's today's weird news. Time now for your moment of duh, brought to you by InsuranceChicken.com. An Ohio couple ordered a pizza and was horrified to lift the lid open on the box and find the pepperoni in a very bizarre shape.
I saw this.
Yeah, the shape of a swastika. Jason Laska said he picked up the pie Saturday from Little Caesars in Brook Park, brought it home. He said, my wife turned and said, babe, did you order this? Did they make it for you? And he turned around and looked at it, and you could see the shock on her face. He says, my jaw just dropped. The couple called the pizza joint to complain. The manager said employees told him that it was supposed to be an internal joke. They were playing on each other. So one was making the pizza for the other, and it got put in the wrong box and sent out.
Oh.
That's what they say. Never intended to go out. The manager told the employees that were involved were let go, but the couple said they never planned to return. It says, we're the type of people that support the diversity in our country, and we embrace it and we love it. We just want to see this hate stop. So I don't know why they were playing this joke on each other in the first place. Bad idea. Both of them no longer work there. But that is just a terrible, terrible way. You know, if you want to goof around and have fun at work, there's things you can do that are not that. But what a bizarre story. I've got a link to it. It's in the show notes for today at JohnandHeidiShow.com.
Do you pay too much for insurance? Have you looked around? Or are you too chicken? Don't be afraid to look around to see if you can find a better deal at InsuranceChicken.com. We make it super simple for you to see rates from several different companies, to see what they have to offer, all in one place. Heck out great insurance deals at InsuranceChicken.com. Is it time for you to cross the road? See if we can save you money each month at InsuranceChicken.com. That's InsuranceChicken.com.
Time now for fake news or Florida. Heidi, tell me, is this a true story from the great state of Florida, or is it fake news made up to trick you and amuse me? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Fake news or Florida. A Florida man was busted after asking police to help him start a scooter that he had just stolen. Fake news or Florida?
I'm going to say Florida.
And you would be correct. Yay! Good job, Heidi. She's getting back on track. You were wrong several times in the last week.
Once.
Oh, it was like 4 times.
No.
Okay.
I was not wrong 4 times last week.
Somebody check tape on that for me. I don't know. You were wrong at least once.
I was wrong once.
But you're not wrong most of the time. So I'm glad you got this right. You're back on track. You've totally redeemed yourself.
Yes, I have.
All right. This has been Fake News or Florida on The John and Heidi Show. This portion of The John and Heidi Show is brought to you by The John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying The John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to JohnandHeidiShow.com. Again, JohnandHeidiShow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is good news. It comes your way courtesy of BetterCreditCards.com. I love this headline. She just wanted to bring joy to my kids. Father shares act of kindness from a stranger. North Carolina father shared a small act of kindness that he experienced in a Walmart, and he hopes that it will inspire others to be kind and respectful to one another every day. So here's what happened. Bobby Clayton said that he and his 2 sons, Harvey and Ryder, were purchasing supplies for the 4th of July in Winston-Salem when a stranger began chatting with them. So I feel like I need to share this during this time that we're in right now, he wrote. This morning, me and my boys went to a Walmart. We were checking out at the self-checkout, and this sweet woman started talking to us, and she asked if she could buy my kids something. I responded, yeah, sure. She proceeded to let them pick out some candy on the rack, and she paid for it. And it made my kids' day. With that being said, it doesn't matter what color you are, what gender you are, or anything. Nothing should stop us from showing people respect and love. That is what it's all about. I agree so much. It says, even without having to ask my kids to say thank you, when she handed them the candy, they both responded with thank you. You made our day. So many lack respect these days, and in these days and time. My eyes... What's that? Oh, in my eyes, every life matters, and nothing will change my mind and heart on that. To this lady, I want to say thank you again from the bottom of my heart for making my kids smile today and showing them love and respect. I encourage everyone to try to do one good thing for somebody each and every day. And
Absolutely.
I agree with that.
I love all of that.
I think it would be a good thing. Think about something you can do, like in this situation. It was something as simple as the lady was at a checkout stand. There were 2 little boys with her dad. And she said, hey, would you mind if I get them something? And I don't know what it cost, maybe a couple bucks, who knows? But it does make a lasting impact. I remember I worked at a grocery store all the way through high school, like, I don't know, 2-3 years, something like that. And there was a kiddo that when this person was just a little kid, I used to put them in the cart and roll them out to the car.
Right.
And I asked mom and dad if they'd let me do it, and they did. And they thought it was fun, so the kid had fun. And it was years later, as an adult, they were talking about how much that meant that I did that. And they would go out of their way to go to that grocery store because of that silly little thing that I would do. And I was like, really? And they're like, oh, yeah, we drive by 2 other grocery stores to come there because of that. I was like, see, I had no idea. I did it because if I was a little kid, I would want to ride in the cart. So, and I'm just a kid at heart. But I think if you can do something today to go out of your way to be nice to somebody, it'll make a huge difference. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show.